Okay, good evening, everyone. On a Thursday evening at 7:30, we want to get started on time. We are hoping to be finished with the presentation inside of an hour. We're hoping more like 45 minutes. For those of you that know Mr. Travers, he's here this evening, so we're hoping for 45 minutes or better. However, all right, I'm going to introduce a few people this evening. First, I'm Todd Bauer. I'm the new principal here at North Penn High School. Joining me this evening, we have Mr. Bill Travers, head of the guidance department. Some of you might know Mr. Travers. Then we have Mrs. Amy Lynn, assistant principal in F40. And lastly, Mr. Stefan Moeller, assistant principal in D103. So each of us are going to speak at some point this evening. Keep in mind that this evening is focused on grades 10 through 12. So this year's current 9th through 11th graders. We will highlight, it'll be informative for those of you that have never taken a course here at the high school. It'll be informative for those who are going to be seniors, some of the changes in our program of studies. And then naturally at the end, we'll open it up for some questions, whether they are just generic questions or specific questions pertaining to a student. We'll kind of allocate folks accordingly. So with that, let's get started and go over a brief overview of what we will cover this evening. We've already done introductions, so I'd like to give an explanation for the changes in the course selection process. I assume most of you read the email blast from last week, and the students in the room, I assume you've seen the video. However, we just want to give a brief overview for what has changed and why in the process itself. Then we will follow, of course, leveling. We have 4.0, 5.0, and 6.0 levels, and then we have the AP level here at the high school, some of our flexible scheduling options, credit requirements to move from 9th to 10th, 10th to 11th, of course 11th to 12th, and ultimately to graduate. JROTC, Keystone exams, and there were some promising changes this week, which Mr. Mueller, I believe, will speak to. Still waiting on a few things, but some exciting news about Keystone exams. GPA and class rank. And we'll show you where you can go at home for some self-help on the website and tutorials. And then, of course, at the end, as I previously mentioned, you'll be able to ask some questions. Okay, so let me give you a brief history here of what has changed. If you have been through the course selection process with older children, or if you're a student in previous years. But in previous years, and I'm not an expert because I've been here for only 6 months, course selection, students had to solidify their changes to their schedule by mid-June, just after school got out. We've moved that process ahead about a month. We think it's in the best interest of everyone to begin the scheduling process earlier, to have students' schedules figured out earlier, and make adjustments if needed earlier, so that students aren't sitting in classes in the beginning of September and October still waiting for changes. So we moved everything forward. Another thing we've done is we've tried to put a lot of the ownership on the students. Beyond high school and in college, students do their own course requests. So we wanted to make sure that students were doing this, and for the sake of instructional time, we didn't want to have guidance counselors going into academic classes and sitting down with each student and explaining click by click. We're trying to represent the process, prepare our students for the future, provide tutorials, provide support. We have computer labs open here at the high school for our 10th and 11th graders to get support every day during all lunches. And naturally, at the middle school, the guidance counselors are going to walk the future 10th graders through it quite a bit. Another thing that we've changed is in previous years, teachers put in their recommendations for students prior to students picking courses, and in the 4 major subjects, they were automatically locked in for the student. We've made a change. Now, the teacher still makes a recommendation, and the student can see the recommendation. However, it is not locked in. That means a student can change it if they would like to, of course, assuming they meet a prerequisite. So if I can give you an example, if you are in a 5.0 biology class, and you got, let's say, a B. But just because the teacher knows you and thinks that that 5.0 level is good for you, they recommend you for 5.0 chemistry, perhaps. But the student really wants to challenge themselves and take 6.0 chemistry. the student will now be able to do that on their own without overriding the teacher's recommendation, because we want to provide, we've been calling it upward mobility in the course selection process. We want the kids to challenge themselves. If they believe in themselves, then we do too. So we want them to be able to make some of those choices. Of course, with guidance, we're still making those recommendations, but we want to hear what the students have to say instead of locking them out of their choice. Excuse me. And so, as I said before, the whole process has moved up. It was, I believe, June 13th last year. It's now May 6th. So courses will have to be locked before students finish courses. Their requests will be finished before they finish their course. We understand that there will be exceptions based on final exams, et cetera, but we believe that it will be best for everyone throughout the process. So here's just a little bit of a guideline on what we would recommend in terms of leveling. And this is more for the high school students. I know at the middle school level, they have HP and honors. Here at the high school, we have 4.0, 5.0, and 6.0. But if students have a B or higher, we are recommending that they move up if possible. We are recommending that they consider moving up. Now, that's not across the board, because in some cases, moving up in 4 courses would be a bit much. So we're asking students to challenge themselves if they have a B or better in a level to consider moving up, again, assuming you meet the prerequisite. Down at the bottom there, we noted that there are some courses, specifically in math, where we do not have a 4.0 option, simply because the content in the courses aren't at the 4.0 level. But when you leave here this evening, we like to call it like a curriculum fair. There's a table for each department. You probably saw it on your way in, where you can speak to the department chair and get more information about their course of study. All right, so some of the changes. For those of you that are familiar with the program of study, I want to highlight a few changes. Naturally, there's always changes, but one of the things, which was in the newspaper not too long ago, is we're proud to announce that we have AP Capstone, which will begin next year. AP Capstone is composed of 2 courses, AP Seminar and AP Research. In layman's terms, I described it to the school board as AP How to Write a Thesis and AP Write Your Thesis. It really is, instead of it being content-driven, it's skill-driven. It's really about how to do a research project, how to collect data, how to write a proposal, how to present and defend. So it's a really, really exciting program. AP Seminar is a prereq for AP Research, so the only course, because no one at North Penn High School has taken AP Seminar. We will not offer AP Research next year, because AP Seminar is a prereq for AP Research. But there are 4 high schools currently in the state of Pennsylvania that have this AP Capstone program, so we're excited to bring it to our students next year. Another AP option that we have for next year is AP Computer Science Principles. We currently have AP Computer Science, but AP Computer Science Principles requires no previous computer programming knowledge. So for students that might be interested and want to explore at a high level, but don't have the programming knowledge, AP Comp Sci, not Principles, just AP Computer Science, is a very challenging course. AP Comp Sci Principles teaches them the basics, and it is not a prereq for AP Computer Science, but I do believe some students will end up taking Comp Sci Principles and then AP Comp Sci after that. And you'll see there at the bottom, just a note that AP Physics C, Electricity and Magnetism, is being added. That's simply because AP Physics has been broken into 2 components. So it's been broken into mechanics and then electricity and magnetism instead of AP Physics. Okay, next slide. We're now making a change that juniors can take AP European History in the place of World History course. That was not the case before, so juniors are able to take AP European History. Other course name changes that you should note are American Cultures is now titled World History. Topics in American Life has been changed to Contemporary Global Issues. That is a senior elective. And there will no longer be Applied Biology and Ecology. Rather, they are simply called Biology and Ecology. So with that, I'm going to kick it over to Mrs. Lynn from F40, and she's going to talk about some of our more creative scheduling options.
Thank you, Mr. Bauer. Good evening and welcome. In terms of flexible scheduling or scheduling altogether, students, when they attend North Penn High School, they'll take English, Social Studies, Math, and Science as 4 of their core courses, and then they still have room in their schedule for elective offerings. If students want to challenge themselves or take something outside of what we offer, we have some interesting options to go over. For our seniors, we offer no school period 1 and no school period 8. In essence, what this would be is late arrival for our seniors or early release. So for seniors who are proficient on all 3 Keystones and have 20 credits, they are eligible to request no school period 1 or no school period 8. This would allow the students to come in late for the start of 2nd period and or leave early at the end of 7th period. So for seniors who have a job, they may be interested in the early release, or maybe those who are athletes and stay after school would want the late arrival. So it's just another option. Also for seniors, we have concurrent enrollment, and we have partnerships with 4 of the local colleges, universities, Penn State, Arcadia, Montgomery County Community College, and Gwynedd Mercy. For those incoming senior parents, there is a parent meeting this next Wednesday, February 3rd at 7:30 to go over specifics with that. But what that is students taking college courses at the college concurrently with their high school courses. The courses do not appear on the transcript because they're earning college credit only. The colleges offer these courses at a drastically reduced tuition cost for our students, and they transfer to the other colleges when your student selects their college after graduation. So it's a great opportunity for our incoming seniors. So that parent information night's next Wednesday. Along with that, we also have dual enrollment, an option. This is different from concurrent because they're earning dual credit, high school and college credit at the same time. And these courses, for the most part, are taught here at North Penn High School by our instructors, and they're offered in our business and FCS department. Again, they earn college credit while taking a college course or a high school course here, and their tuition is at a reduced fee, but then they transfer on to colleges. For some seniors, they want to come in for their core courses, English, Social Studies, Math, possibly Science and PE, but then they want to go out and either try to shadow a career, work with somebody, whether it's at an elementary school, and try to get a field or an idea for a field they want to major in. So they can apply to do a career study, or we have students who have jobs and want to do a work-study internship where they actually get paid, but they're still earning credits at high school. So those are both applications that they have to complete to participate in. If that's not enough options, we also offer virtual high school, and this is offered to all 3 grade levels for our students. And if there is a course that a student is really interested in studying, but we don't offer here, perhaps screenwriting or mythology or Chinese, they can apply to go through virtual high school. They meet every day, 1 period a cycle, with one of our teachers who supervise them, and they're being instructed online from an instructor from anywhere across the country, if not internationally. So it's another opportunity for those students who are looking for something unique that we may not offer here. And for our incoming seniors, we also offer a summer internship program where they can line up a summer internship that we oversee during the summer and earn credit towards their high school diploma. For our sophomores and juniors, as I said, they're eligible for the virtual high school, but they also can do no class period 1, and this would be for those sophomores or juniors who maybe want a late start. Again, maybe they're athletes and they want to come in at 8 o'clock, and then 3 days a week they would stay after school later. It's just really not for our athletes, I apologize, to stay and take their English course or maybe their science course after school. So that is an option. There's more details on how that works in our program of studies on page 10. And for all 3 grades, again, we also have our Technical Career Center that is an option, and I'll speak more about that in just a moment. Another unique program that we offer here at the high school is we have an Air Force JROTC program. We have 4 courses involved in that, and although most of you here are probably you're coming in, it is open to our 9th grade students as well, so our 8th graders becoming 9th grade. But we offer 4 courses. 3 of them carry science credit, which is Science of Flight, Frontiers of Aviation, and Exploration of Space. And we also offer 1 that carries a social studies credit, the Global Studies. So if you do participate in the JROTC program, they do offer dual enrollment credit through that, but that is actually through Adams State College. And for further information, we have the Major Miller and Chief Sullivan out in our auditorium lobby at the end of this. One thing to know with that is this year or next year will be different, that there is a requirement that they must wear a uniform 1 day a week. It had been optional for the first year enrolled in the program, but now moving next year, it is a requirement. So tech school, we're fortunate enough that we have North Monco Technical Career Center right behind the high school. So our students in 10th grade will begin their day here at the high school. They start off in their biology class, and then they leave approximately 8:05, 8:10 to head over to North Monco for their cluster or their field. And then they come back and they go directly into fourth period lunch. And that's because of timing. If they come back into a class fourth period, they'd be missing the beginning of that. So they go right into lunch, and then they resume their regular schedule after that here at the high school. For our 11th and 12th graders, they attend the afternoon session. So they all have lunch 6. They leave lunch slightly early to head over to the tech school. The tech school counts as 2 credits towards their graduation requirements. And again, this is something that they can start in 9th or 10th grade. One of the things that we would really like to highlight is the fact that we do offer so many advanced placement course offerings. Up there, I think we have 27 course offerings. I actually think I forgot to count the AP Capstone, so I think we're actually up to 28 courses for next year. And this is a great way for our students to earn college credit. The courses are designed with a high rigor and readiness for college, and there is potential for the students to exempt their North Penn exam if they take the College Board AP exam in May. So there's a great opportunity, and there's more information. All the listings of those can also be found in our program of studies. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Travers.
All right. They're going to get a stopwatch on me. Now, I really want you to pay attention because this is some really exciting stuff coming up. Number 1, to graduate from our high school, you need 23 credits. The good news is most of our students earn 6+ credits every year, times that by 4, somewhere between 24 and 26 credits. So generally that doesn't become a problem. Thing you just want to look at, 4 years of English, 4 years of social studies. We obviously encourage you to take 4 years of math and science, but you have to take a total of 7, 3 in each, an additional in either science or math, and as you can see, arts and humanities and so forth. Okay. Credit values. Credit values are technically based on seat time. So as you can look up there, if a credit's 0.3, it generally meets 2 times a cycle. One that's 0.5 is going to be a semester course. We have some 0.7s that meet 4 times each week or each cycle. Then we go up to our 1 credit course, 6 times a cycle. We have some science courses that have labs with them, so they meet 7 times a cycle, so they get the 1.15, 1.3, becomes 8. The 1.5 and 2 are tech school students. They earn 2 credits for the time they spend over at the tech school, which really maximizes their credits. And our career study, work study people can also earn a lot of credits. Pretty exciting, huh? Okay, this is a biggie now. IFE, ineligible for exclusion. There's some of you in here who are hung up on GPAs, ranks, and so forth. This is very important, okay? There are certain courses that must be counted in the calculation of your GPA. And you can see them. I'm not going to read them to you, but generally, your English is, all your social studies, your math, which includes Algebra 1, Geometry, Algebra 2, your sciences, which include physical science, biology, and chemistry. So this is a big one in your program of studies. It's designated IFE, okay? This is a big one, GPA and class rank, okay? GPA is rounded to the nearest hundredth, 2 decimal places, okay? In case of a tie, we will go to the 3rd decimal place. The rank is based on 5 majors. Now, this is an important consideration because a lot of our students take 6 majors. I always tell students and parents, that when you're sending your transcript out to a college or university, even though 5 majors calculate your GPA, the 6 majors make up your academic profile. Courses that earn credit values more than 1, so 1.15, 1.3, they're all calculated in the same as 1. And finally, this is an important one. For you 9th grade parents and you 9th grade students, you better remember when I was down at your middle schools, we made a point that 9th grade counts. So we're at the semester. So if you're the parent of a 9th grader, this is the time to say, get moving, right? Because you're 9th grade, you got 1 more semester. Finally, a biggie. People think they have athletic ability. Mr. Bauer was a swimmer in college. Mr. Muller, who I'll introduce, also played college baseball. Thank goodness they were good students, because the NCAA has eligibility requirements. In your program of studies, you'll see a little figure. I could tell you it looks like me, but it's not. It's a running figure, okay? Mine would be sitting in a chair, okay? The NCAA has really put in some tough, considerations to be eligible. So here's what we recommend. Couple of things. If you're in 9th grade and you have any aspirations of being a Division I or Division II athlete, you really have to take a look at this now, because it's not something you do in your junior year. You have to make sure you're in the right courses, which your English, social studies, math, and science are good, but it's those other courses. Are they going to count? And you can read that all on page 9. Okay? And I think I did that pretty quickly, and I want to introduce a 3-sport athlete in his own right in high school, Mr. Stephen Muller.
I only wish I could be as exciting as Mr. Travers, but I won't be. So, anyway, I got 3 pieces that I'm going to talk about. The first is Keystone, and Mr. Bauer alluded to some of this earlier. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the course selection process, and then about the website. And the website we've been working on, and hopefully some of you have been directed to that with the email blast that went out last week. So, first thing, Keystones. You can find more information in the program of studies on pages 5 and 6. There's a lot going on in Harrisburg right now. Mr. Bauer spoke a little bit about it earlier. If you pay attention to the politics that's going on, there are probably going to be Keystone changes coming down the pipeline. As of right now, we have not been given any official directive. So as of right now, we're not changing anything until we hear definitively. So as of now, Keystones are a required piece for students to graduate. It's probably going to be pushed off to the class of 2019. So that's many of you, or at least parents of many of our students, are here in this audience right now, who would still potentially be affected by that. But once again, that hasn't changed as of yet. So we're still putting the PBAs, the project-based assessments for students who do not pass all of the Keystones, they still are embedded in our courses, okay? So if a student has not passed multiple times on the biology Keystone, they would then take a course that has a PBA, project-based assessment, embedded into it. So we're still going to forge ahead because nothing officially has changed. But as things change, we will adapt and evolve accordingly. Okay, so just pay attention to that as we move along in that process and as we hear more from Harrisburg. Next, the course selection process. The electronic course selection process, as Mr. Bauer noted earlier, there are changes with that. I do, for those of you who have been through this process before, or at least if you go to, I think 2 of our 3 middle schools in the past, used the course selection cards. We're not using the course selection cards this year, okay? So if you were used to that in the past, that's not going to be the case for your son or daughter this year. They're not going to be carrying that around, and you won't actually see a hard copy of that. And once again, that's something Mr. Bauer talked about earlier, the process and how that's changing and the rationale for that. So they're not going to have those course selection cards. Right now, as you are aware, the Home Access Center is open for your child, and you can go online with your child and go through the process with them. But the Home Access Center is open for you to select courses, or for your child to select their courses for next year. And that's going to be open through February 7th. So if you haven't already done so, or if your child hasn't already done so, please encourage them to get onto Home Access Center. If they're not ready to select their courses tonight, let's say, or tomorrow, you can at least start that conversation with them, and then they can come in in during their lunch and meet with a counselor in room B127 and get some of those questions answered that you might have. But it also gives you some time between now and the 7th to maybe contact the guidance counselor of your child to get some questions answered if we can't answer that tonight or if the website doesn't help you out with that. So now through, or at least last week through February 7th, that Home Access Center is open to schedule those courses, or at least to get those requests in. The timeline's a little bit different at the middle schools, okay? So if you have a child who is an 8th grader, you have another child who's an 8th grader or a 7th grader, their process is different. If they're a 9th grader, their process is different. They, I believe, are starting the week after us, or February 5th, somewhere in that time frame, and for about a week or two. We might overlap a little bit, but I just don't want you to get confused saying, oh no, we went to the information night and they said that Home Access Center is open. It should be open for my student who's down at Penfield. That would not necessarily be the case. You have to speak with them specifically, or maybe contact the guidance counselor at the middle school to find out the specific dates for when they're going through their process, okay? So this is specifically for our students up here at the high school. And lastly on this, changes after February 7th are going to be processed through the counselor manually. So if your child selects a course that they don't necessarily want, they sign up for a cooking class, they're not ready to lock that in a month from now, they want to change it, they can do so, all right? But they just have to do it through their counselor. Set an appointment, meet with the counselor, and then they can make the change appropriately. So what I'm getting at is Home Access Center is not open unlimited until May 6th, that deadline date. It's open through February 7th for you to go on with your child, or for your child to go on by him or herself, schedule their classes. If they want to make a change, it's open through May 6th. It just, Home Access Center is not. So they'd have to do that with their counselor. And the last piece I want to speak about is the website. We've spent a lot of time putting things up on the website. Any resources that we are using have gone up on the website. And if you use the links that were in Mr. Bauer's email blast that he sent out last week, you probably saw a lot of those resources on the website. So if you just go to the NPSD website, as you normally would if you're checking anything online, I'm going to ask, and you just follow the highlighted pieces. You can see the process here. Just go to select a school, and you would select North Penn High School. It would bring us to the normal NPHS website. Then you'd go to Our School, select that as if you were going to the daily bulletin or the daily information to find out what's going on in the daily happenings at NPHS. And then if you notice on the left-hand side, 2016-2017 course selection. That web page is going to take you to the course selection homepage. And once again, the email blast that went out directed you to a lot of the resources that we've put up there. So you can find out a little bit more about the process. You can find out more about the important dates. If I were to scroll down, you'd see a calendar view if you wanted to see that, along with the important dates and their significance, what's coming up. But if you notice the highlighted portions on the left side of the screen there, course selection documents, any applications that you might need for VHS, the virtual high school that was spoken about earlier. You could find more information, you could find the application, you could find the necessary documentation you need for that, or some of the other course offerings that we do have. The program of studies, that'll be linked in there in the documents page. The next one, course selection videos. Most of our departments have put together videos, and we've uploaded them onto that page there for you and your child to take 2 or 3 minutes to look at maybe the tech ed department and what they offer, and the art department, their offerings. I'll tell you what, if you haven't seen any of them yet, I encourage you to take a look. Our departments did a fantastic job of putting together videos that are, at least entertaining to see. If you really want to see what the art department offers, take a look, and in 3 minutes you'll have a pretty good idea of the different course offerings that we do have and the student work, or what students are working on in their courses. So I encourage you to take a few minutes and take a look at some of the different departments that your son or daughter may or may not be interested in, to get a better idea of what we do offer. Also on there, it's the presentation that we did for our students during 9th period before you got the email blast, walking you through some of this process and walking you through how to do the course selecting through a Home Access Center. So there's tutorials on there as well. So I encourage you to take a look at the resources that we have on the videos page as well. And then the last one is the frequently asked questions. Why are we changing this process? When is the deadline? What happens when the deadline hits? Can I still make changes? And you'll find some of those answers in the frequently asked questions. And if not, That's why we have guidance counselors. That's why we have, the individuals up here, assistant principals or principals, to help answer those questions. And even the teachers can answer those questions as well. So there's a lot of resources. If it's not up there, we'll be able to get you an answer. Okay, so just make sure you contact someone in the building. Preferably go to your son or daughter's guidance counselor first. They're the best place to go for a lot of this information. So lastly, I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. I know and Mr. Bauer talked about it earlier, it's a Thursday night. We started at 7:30, a lot going on. But with that, thank you for coming out. We talked about some of the breakout sessions that are happening after this point. So a few pieces. If you just have general questions, we're going to ask that you remain in here. We'll be around, sticking around to answer any questions that you might have. You may not have a single question, but you just want to hear some of the questions that other parents are asking. Stick around. If you have specific questions, Mr. Travers, you saw him earlier. He'd love to talk to you out in the concourse area if you have any guidance, specific questions about credits, GPA, class rank. You saw him go through, or you heard what he was talking about with those pieces. If you still have questions, he'll gladly answer those for you. If you want to get more information about the gifted program, gifted mentorship, and our gifted offerings, meet in E22. It's around here and up the ramp. So if you were to go straight through this hallway, go up the ramp to E22, you can get some of those questions answered there. And then lastly, if you have specific questions for department chairs, Air Force, JROTC, North Monco Technical Career Center, all of those departments and pieces are out in the concourse as well. So if you have specific questions for those departments or those individuals, we want to direct you out there to the curriculum fair that you saw as you walked in. But once again, thank you for coming out. Hopefully you find a niche to go to. Like I said, we'll be around for questions if you want to hang tight. Thank you again. Have a great night.